Nevada Representative George Santos managed to insult both his voters and himself at the same time. That's very impressive. Here's a video of that.
This isn't about power. This is about getting stuff done. Having somebody like me come and represent other people who are just like me, simple-minded folks who come from absolutely nothing and have a voice in Congress.
Simple-minded folks, just like me. You just called your voters dumb, and by the way, yourself. Congratulations. Well done. Great. Look, I'm pretty sure that's not going to play well when it comes to re-election, but although to be fair, your voters already hate you. So I guess, probably not going to have too much of an impact after all. But it gets better. Take a look.
You say legitimately, that's a lot of money. It didn't appear that you had jobs that would provide that kind of income where you can make these kinds of loans. So I would love it if you could be a bit more specific, because these are real sizable figures.
Of course, Greg, DeVolder Organizations was founded in 2001 when I stepped away from my previous employment, and I decided to go on my own to do exactly what I've did for other companies for years, which is capital introduction, relationship management of high net worth individuals.
Okay, so interesting questions from Newsmax, ironically, but let's focus on the answer, right? So he referred to the company, the DeVolder Organization, as a company he founded back in 2001. Now, that would be very impressive because at the time he would be 13 years old. Well done. Well done. Wow. Smartest 13-year-old ever. To not just, again, have been working in personal finance for years and then founding the DeVolder Organization when he was 13. I'm pretty sure he meant 2021. That's when the DeVolder Organization was actually founded. But, again, unless his age is another lie, he made a hilarious mistake. And again, it is a mistake. But it does show you that for someone who lies so much and so often, he's not good at it. He's actually really bad at it. You could see that during the interviews. Not a very impressive speaker. Not somebody who's very charismatic at all. And so it just makes you wonder why and how people fell for the lies for so long. It's amazing. Now, that said, there's more. Speaking of lies, here's a doozy. According to Politico, Santos was charged with theft by deception back in 2017 for stealing puppies from Amish people. I'm not kidding. So now this happened in Pennsylvania's Amish country after a series of bad checks totaling $15,125 were written to in his name to Amish dog breeders in that area. So now we're just hearing about this because it turns out that this was expunged from Santos's record with the help of a friend. So we're going to get to that friend in a minute here. But he claims that his checkbook had been stolen and that there was $15,000 of bad checks in his name to dog breeders. Now, what do we know about George Santos? Well, we know he lies. We also know that he had a fake charity called Friends of Pets United. Now, that's going to factor in here, okay? So, now, attorney Tiffany Bogosian happened to have been the friend that helped out George Santos. Now, she was a middle school classmate of Santos and had reconnected to him with him back in 2020. Now, she had talked to Politico and told him that the then future congressman told her that the checkbook had gone missing back in 2017 and then had blamed someone that he had known for the disappearance of said checkbook. He also said, well, as soon as I found out that there was these fraudulent charges, I canceled the book. I canceled the checkbook with TD Bank. In February 2020, Bogosian sent an email to a Trooper Adams arguing that Santos on his behalf in the case using the information that he had given her. As such, Bogosian wrote, no checks were ever cashed or presented against his account due to his cancellation of all checks linked to this account. The account was closed on March 3rd, 2018 for personal reasons, unrelated to any alleged fraud on his account. Banking preference. The message included copies of 9 canceled checks to 8 different people corresponding bank statements from Santos' account, showing a negative balance of $690 on November 4th, 2017, and another negative balance of $349 on December 3rd, 2017. Bogosian told the trooper that the signatures were different on each of the checks and attached to Santos' New York State driver's license showed the signature that the signature on the ID didn't match any of the ones in the checks. Now, we know that signature verification, signature matching is ridiculous. People's signatures can change. And by the way, you can also change your own signature at any time. Just write a different way. So, you know. Well, okay. She also said that Santos was clearly a victim of fraud, but hadn't realized it until he was served with a warrant because he had already closed the account and canceled the checks. Now, you might think, wait a minute, doesn't this help Santos' story? Does it not show that he was indeed a victim of fraud? Well, turns out Bogosian realizes that she may have made a mistake because she had missed some, well, red flags. She told Politico that she no longer believes her former classmate's claim after he tried to get one of her personal injury clients that had just won a sizable settlement to invest with a Florida firm that the Securities and Exchange Commission later said was a Ponzi scheme. He said, I didn't know it was a Ponzi scheme at the time. Now, she said to Politico, quote, I did think it was so weird at the time that his checks didn't have his address or his phone number listed on them. To be honest, even at the time, I questioned it. But she decided to believe him. Funny enough, following that, Santos had held an adoption event at the Staten Island pet store. And this is after he had claimed, look, I canceled the checks and they had all these checks to these people. I didn't do that. No. But somehow I ended up getting a boatload of puppies. But I don't know how this happened. Really? Santos held this adoption event at a Staten Island pet store with his animal rescue charity, Friends of Pets United, according to the store's Instagram account and a person who had even attended the event. The New York Times reported earlier this week that Santos had an unusual request for the pet store owner, this man named Daniel Avasado, after an adoption event at Pet Oasis. He asked Avasado to make a check out with the proceeds out to his name instead of the name of the charity Friends of Pets United. Avasado said he refused, but then later on noticed when he had looked at his bank records that the check had been changed to the way that Santos had wanted it, with his name instead of the name of the charity, which, by the way, the name of the charity is a charity that doesn't actually exist. It never existed, according to IRS records. It's just not real. Huh. Later that same year, in December 2017, a woman named Michelle Vazzo said that she had met Santos at Pet Oasis and adopted a puppy when she adopted a puppy at another event. Santos had told her, at the time, the golden retriever was rescued from, get this, an Amish puppy mill. There were many dogs at the charity events, and adoption costs ranged from $300 to $400, she had recalled. Vazzo said in an interview, the fees were always different, and he always had a ton of puppies and a ton of people helping him. Santos would often tell different stories about where the puppies came from, sometimes saying he found pregnant dogs in the streets, and other times claiming that he rescued them in Puerto Rico or other places, she said. So, bunch of fake checks that he then claimed, stolen. But he got the puppies, sold the puppies, pocketed the money. From the Amish, by the way. And again, all while claiming, oh, I'm running a wonderful charity that is helping get these dogs to good homes. I'm doing a rescue. Wow. Total, absolute scumbag, despicable person. My God. Look, I keep telling you, every lie, worse and worse and worse, one after another, lie on top of lie. This guy is an absolute scumbag, allegedly. But wow,